Hola estudiantes! This lesson is going to teach you how to make adjectives plural, as well as how to make the adjective agree in the sentence with the subject and to make everything agree. First, we're going to review the rules for how to make nouns and articles plural, because if you can remember how to do that, because we have already learned that, then this is going to be a whole lot easier for you. So first, I want to review how you make the definite articles plural. And definite articles, if you remember, are called definite articles because they mean the. It's a specific article. Someone's being specific when they use it. So the singular articles are el and la, and what they're going to change to is they're going to change to los and las. So el is changing to los, la is changing to las, and all of them mean the. El is singular and los is plural. And same thing for here, so la is singular, las is plural. And also, el and los are masculine. You're only going to use them with masculine nouns. And la and las are feminine, and you only use them with feminine nouns. All right, so now the rules for making indefinite articles plural. If you remember, indefinite articles are the opposite of definite articles. They are not specific. It's indefinite. For example, if someone said, hand me a piece of paper, they don't care what kind of paper it is. As long as it's a piece of paper they can write on, it's fine. And the indefinite articles in Spanish for a and an is un and una, and those are singular. And they are going to change to plurals. For un is going to change to unos, and una is going to change to unas. Un is singular, and unos is plural, and they are both masculine. Una is singular, and unas is plural. Now, one different thing that changes here is that un and una mean a and an. Depends on the context of the sentence. But when you make those plural, the meaning changes to some or a few. And we do the same thing in English, but you just have to remember that the meaning changes. Now we're going to review the rules for how you make nouns and articles plural. Rule number 1 is if a noun ends in a vowel, which is A, E, I, O, or U, you simply add an S to the end of the noun. Por ejemplo, la hamburguesa, the hamburger, will become las hamburguesas, the hamburgers, because la changes to las to make that plural, and hamburguesa ends with a vowel, an A, so we simply add an S to the end to make it las hamburguesas. Rule number 2 is if a noun ends in a consonant, which is anything but a vowel, you add an ES to the end of the noun. Por ejemplo, el pastel, the pastry, is going to change to los pasteles because el changes to los, and the L on the end of pastel is a consonant, therefore we add an ES. So el pastel changes to los pasteles. Or, for a feminine example, una flor, which is a flower, will change to unas flores because una changes to unas for some, and flor ends with a R, which is also a consonant, so we add ES. Unas flores, now we're saying some flowers or a few flowers. Rule number 3 is if a noun ends in a Z, you remove the Z and add CES to the end of the noun. For example, un lápiz, a pencil, is going to become unos lápices because un, to make it plural, instead of saying a pencil, we want to say some pencils or a few pencils, so we change un to unos, and lápiz ends with a Z, so we need to take that off and replace it with CES. And then we say unos lápices, which is some or a few pencils. All right, so there is good news for you if you can remember all of those rules and you're like, yeah, I remember that. That was easy. Well, the same rules apply for how you make adjectives plural. Nothing has changed. So that's going to make your life a whole lot easier. So just to review how those same rules apply to adjectives, rule number 1 is that if the adjective ends in a vowel, you just simply add an S. So sabrosa, which is tasty. If you have multiple things that are tasty, then you are going to just say sabrosas since it ends with an A. So all of these things are tasty. Rule number 2 is if the adjective ends with a consonant, you just add ES. So popular, if that would be describing maybe one person that's popular or one thing that's popular. And then if you have multiple things or people that are popular, you add ES to the end of that because an R is a consonant. So populares. Rule number 3, if the adjective ends in a Z, you remove it and add CES to the end of the adjective. So capaz, which means capable. If you have one person or thing that is capable and then you want to change it to multiple, you'd say capaces. Or you have multiple things that are happy or people that are happy, feliz, you change it to felices. Simple. And then also with adjectives, it always has to agree with the noun in the sentence. For example, chica artística. And remember, it always goes in that order. Noun, adjective, which is the reverse of English. So we're really not saying an artistic girl, we're saying girl artistic. Okay, so see how that sentence agrees completely? Chica is feminine and artística is feminine as well. Same thing over here, but now we're saying chico artístico, the artistic boy. Everything is masculine and agreeing. All right, I want to talk a little bit more about sentence agreement because we're going to be making longer sentences than we have before. And we've talked a little bit about this before, that when you have a mixed gender in a sentence, you are going to make the sentence or the adjective agree masculine. Even if you have more things in the sentence that are feminine than masculine, you always agree masculine. An example of this, or a couple examples of this, would be la lechuga, las zanahorias. Both of those are feminine. And then we have los tomates. We still, even though we have more feminine things in the sentence than masculine, we have to make bueno or buenos masculine. We have to make it agree that way. So now we have la lechuga, las zanahorias, y los tomates son buenos para la salud. You cannot say buenas. Same thing here. So las grasas y el helado son malos para la salud. So notice how we made those agree masculine. Adjective agreement is very important to sounding like you know what you're talking about in Spanish. One other thing you will want to remember with making sentences agree in Spanish is that if the nouns in the sentence are all singular, but there are multiple singular items being listed in the sentence, then the sentence will still be plural. A couple examples of this would be la naranja, la fresa, el plátano y la manzana son buenos para la salud. Even though all of these nouns are singular, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of them being listed, and that makes this sentence plural. So that's why we say son buenos. And this is also a good example of seeing that there are 3 feminine nouns in the sentence and only 1 masculine, but still the masculine wins out and we make it masculine, make the adjective agree masculine. Another example would be el helado, el pastel y la galleta son malos para la salud. Even though they are all singular, there are uno, dos, y tres nouns being listed in the sentence, which makes this a plural sentence. So we say son malos and not es malo. We also have a mixed gender of nouns, so we're going to make it agree masculine as well. Alright, so here are some more examples with my cats, con mis gatos. Tengo unos gatos lindos. So notice here how everything is agreeing. I'm saying the subject is multiple cats, so unos is masculine and plural, and so is lindos, masculine and plural. So I have some cute cats now, is what it says. And then tengo tres gatitos simpáticos y felices. See how all of those are agreeing plural and masculine? I have 3 friendly and happy kitties. And those are Twix. He is the boy kitty. He is the oldest. And Ember, who's a girl. And then Callie, who's also a girl. So they're sisters and they're right around the same age. All right, more ejemplos. Ember es una gata bonita, dulce y única. So she's a girl, so we're making everything agree in the feminine form. So una gata bonita. Dulce is one of those words that's just, or one of those adjectives that's neutral gendered, so we don't really have to do anything with that. Y única, everything singular and feminine. So Ember es una gata bonita, dulce y única. And yes, she is. She is a very pretty, sweet, and unique cat. She's kind of the mother of the group.
Ember, ¿quieres una galleta sabrosa?
No! No! No, no, no. You're crazy. And then Callie es una gata simpática y adorable. Callie is a friendly and lovable cat, and she is the most cuddly, cute, lovable, adorable kitty. And she's full of energy. Tons of fun.
Come here. Dame un beso. Dame un beso. Mira. Puedes darte muchos besos. Got lipstick on you. Look. Look at the lipstick.
And Twix es un gato sensible, reservado, pero muy simpático. So notice here how everything is agreeing singular and masculine, since he is a boy kitty. And he is a sensitive cat, and he's shy. He goes hiding anytime a visitor comes to our house, but he is so very nice and cute and silly. He can be very silly. All right, and here are all of the examples that I just gave you of mis gatos together, in case you wanted to see how they all agreed with masculine, feminine, singular, plural. So if you would like to go over those, then you can pause it and look at them as much as you would like. Okay, vamos a practicar ahora. So on your paper, I want you to take these the first part, I want you to take these articles, nouns, and adjectives in the statement, and you're going to make them plural. So these statements, I want you to make them plural using all of the rules that we learned in this lesson. You're going to make these sentences plural, so applying all of that to the sentence. And also remember, are will be son in these sentences, and so we will learn that later, but just so you know, are will be son. And I want you to then translate this last sentence and make everything agree. So pause this and take a moment to test out your understanding of what you learned. Okay, ahora let's go over your answers. So for the first part, el helado sabroso turns to los helados sabrosos. La galleta rica should be las galletas ricas. And so both of those, el changes to los, la changes to las, and in these cases, the rule is that they all end with a vowel, so we just simply added an S. Una clase difícil changes to unas clases difíciles. So una changes to unas, clase ends with a vowel, so we added an S, and difícil has a consonant on the end, so we added ES. Un estudiante feliz changes to unos estudiantes felices. So un changes to unos. Estudiante has a vowel on the end, so it gets an S, and feliz ends with a Z, so we took it off and replaced it with CES. If you got all of those right, you're doing great with all of the rules we learned. Now you're supposed to make these plural. So la hamburguesa es mala changes to las hamburguesas son malas. El helado es sabroso changes to los helados son sabrosos. And so notice how all of those are agreeing. This whole sentence is feminine, and this whole sentence is feminine in plural, and this whole sentence is masculine in plural. And then lastly, how you say ice cream, cookies, and butter are bad for one's health are el helado, las galletas y la mantequilla son malos para la salud. Muy bien. Okay, and that's it. Gracias. Bring your questions to class y hasta la próxima.